Ladies and gentlemen, there is a season in life when we wonder if we will ever find the right partner. We question whether God is truly leading us or if we are left to figure it out on our own. But let me assure you, God does not leave such an important part of your life to chance. He is an intentional matchmaker, guiding you toward the person who complements your destiny. God does not just give you a partner, he gives you a purpose-filled relationship. If you are in a season of waiting, do not rush. Trust the process, build your faith, and prepare yourself. The right person sent by God will not just add to your life, they will multiply your purpose. In a world that constantly urges us to move faster, achieve more, and take control of our destinies, waiting for God's timing can feel like an unbearable challenge. We live in a culture of instant gratification, where patience is often seen as a weakness rather than a virtue. However, when it comes to one of the most important decisions of our lives, choosing a life partner, trusting in God's divine timing is not just beneficial, but essential. Many people struggle with the idea that their love story is not unfolding as quickly as they had hoped. They look around and see friends getting engaged, family members starting their own families, and social media showcasing endless images of seemingly perfect relationships. This comparison creates pressure, leading many to question whether God has forgotten them. But the truth is, God is never late, nor is he early. He is always on time. His timing is not dictated by societal expectations or personal desires. It is rooted in his perfect knowledge of what is best for us. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to rush into relationships based on their own timeline rather than God's. When we take matters into our own hands, we often end up settling for less than what God has prepared for us. Relationships formed out of impatience can lead to emotional pain, regret, and even broken marriages. God does not withhold good things from us to punish or frustrate us. Instead, he withholds until the right time to bless us beyond what we could ever imagine. Consider the story of Abraham and Sarah. God had promised them a child, but because they grew impatient, Sarah took matters into her own hands and gave her servant Hagar to Abraham, resulting in the birth of Ishmael. However, this was not the child of promise. Isaac, the true fulfillment of God's word, came at the appointed time, demonstrating that God's plan always prevails despite human attempts to rush it. Similarly, when we step outside of God's timeline in relationships, we may experience temporary fulfillment, but it will never compare to the joy and purpose found in waiting for the right person. Another important aspect of divine timing is preparation. God does not just delay things for the sake of delaying. He uses the waiting season to prepare us for the blessing ahead. Many times we think we are ready for marriage when, in reality, we are not. There may be areas in our lives that need healing, growth, or refinement before we can fully embrace a God-ordained relationship. Just as gold must go through fire to be purified, God uses our waiting period to shape our character, strengthen our faith, and align our hearts with his purpose. Furthermore, the right person also needs to be prepared. It is possible that the person God has chosen for you is still growing, learning, and becoming the individual they need to be in order to complement your life. If God brought them to you too soon, the relationship might not flourish as it should. A strong, faith-filled relationship requires two individuals who are whole, not people looking for someone else to complete them. Patience in waiting for God's timing also builds trust in him. If we cannot trust him with our love story, how can we trust him with the bigger challenges of life? Every season of waiting is an opportunity to deepen our relationship with God, learning to rely on his wisdom rather than our own understanding. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. This verse reassures us that if we surrender our timeline to God, he will guide us toward the right person at the right time. Divine timing is about more than just patience. It is about trust, preparation, and obedience. When God finally brings the right partner into your life, it will be clear why the waiting was necessary. Instead of rushing ahead, we must embrace the journey, knowing that what God has planned is always greater than what we could plan for ourselves. In life, many people rush into relationships without first understanding their own purpose. They seek companionship without considering where they are headed, what they are called to do, or how a relationship fits into their greater mission. However, God does not bring people together simply for emotional fulfillment. He pairs them for a divine purpose. Before God introduces the right partner into your life, he prepares you to be the right person for that relationship. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that a relationship or marriage will give them purpose. They assume that finding the right person will automatically complete them, bring them happiness, and define their identity. However, no relationship can take the place of discovering God's plan for your life. A strong and fulfilling relationship is built on the foundation of two individuals who already know who they are and what they are meant to do. Without this understanding, relationships can become a distraction rather than a blessing. God often keeps people single longer than they expect, not because he is withholding something good, but because he is shaping them for something greater. If a person does not first develop their gifts, character, and spiritual life, they may not be ready for the weight of a serious relationship. Marriage is not just about love, it is about purpose, responsibility, and growth. When two people come together in a God-ordained relationship, they do not just share emotions, they share a calling. Their partnership should strengthen each other's walk with God and help fulfill his plan. Looking at the Bible, we see that before God gave Adam a wife, he first gave him a purpose. Adam was placed in the Garden of Eden with the responsibility to work and take care of it, Genesis 2:15. Only after Adam had this purpose did God say, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him," Genesis 2:18. This order is significant. Eve was not just a companion. She was a helper, someone who would support Adam's mission. This shows that a relationship should complement your purpose, not replace it. Many people enter relationships before fully understanding their direction in life. As a result, they become easily influenced by the desires, expectations, or dreams of their partner, often losing sight of what God originally called them to do. When you do not know your purpose, you are more likely to accept any relationship, even if it is not aligned with God's will. This is why preparation before partnership is essential. God uses seasons of singleness to refine, develop, and prepare his children. During this time, he teaches valuable lessons about patience, self-control, faith, and emotional stability. He strengthens character, sharpens spiritual discernment, and deepens personal identity in him. The waiting period is not about loneliness. It is about learning, growing, and becoming the person God created you to be. Those who embrace this season will be better equipped to handle the responsibilities of a relationship when the time comes. Another reason purpose comes before partnership is that when you are clear about your calling, you can recognize the right partner more easily. A person who understands their mission will look for someone who shares their values, vision, and faith. They will not be swayed by temporary emotions or pressured by societal expectations. Instead, they will seek a partner who strengthens their spiritual walk and aligns with their God-given purpose. Consider the story of Ruth and Boaz. Ruth was a woman of great character, hard work, and faithfulness. She was not actively seeking a husband, she was simply focused on doing what was right. As she worked in the fields, Boaz noticed her dedication, integrity, and kindness. Because Ruth had a strong sense of purpose, she naturally attracted the right kind of partner. This story teaches that when we focus on becoming the best version of ourselves, the right relationships will come at the right time. Finally, it is important to remember that purpose-driven relationships require constant growth. Even after entering a relationship, individuals must continue to develop spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. A healthy relationship does not hinder personal growth, it encourages it. God's design for partnership is that both individuals help each other fulfill their highest potential. Before God pairs you with the right person, He ensures you are ready. He wants you to know your purpose, strengthen your character, and develop your gifts. Instead of rushing into a relationship, focus on preparation. When you embrace God's process, you will not only attract the right partner, but you will also build a relationship that honors Him and fulfills His plan for your life. One of the greatest indicators of a strong and lasting relationship is the alignment of values and vision. Many people enter relationships based on emotions, attraction, or convenience, only to find themselves struggling with deep conflicts later on. The truth is, love alone is not enough to sustain a relationship. Two people must be walking in the same direction, with shared values and a common vision for their future. Without this foundation, a relationship will eventually face serious challenges. Values are the core principles that guide a person's decisions, behavior, and beliefs. They shape how a person views life, relationships, finances, faith, family, and even personal growth. When two people have conflicting values, it creates constant friction. For example, if one person prioritizes faith and the other does not, it can lead to disagreements on spiritual matters. If one believes in honesty and integrity while the other is comfortable with deception, trust will eventually break. This is why God ensures that the right partner for you is someone whose values align with yours. He does not just consider physical attraction or personality compatibility. He looks at the heart, the character, and the long-term direction of a person's life. Relationships that are built on a foundation of shared values stand strong, while those that ignore this principle often end in disappointment. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that differences in values will change over time. They enter relationships hoping to fix or convert the other person, believing that love will be enough to bring alignment. However, unless a person willingly chooses to grow and change, core values rarely shift. This is why it is crucial to seek alignment from the beginning, rather than hoping for transformation later. The Bible gives clear wisdom on this matter. 2 Corinthians 6:14 says, "Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers, for what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness?" This verse does not mean that people should look down on those with different beliefs, but it emphasizes the importance of being spiritually and morally aligned in a relationship. A yoke was a wooden device used to join two oxen together to plow a field. If the oxen were not equal in strength and direction, they would struggle to move forward effectively. In the same way, if two people in a relationship are not equally aligned in values, they will constantly pull in different directions. Beyond values, vision also plays a critical role in determining compatibility. Vision refers to a person's goals, aspirations, and purpose in life. If two people do not share a common vision for their future, they may find themselves constantly at odds over important decisions. For example, if one person desires a life dedicated to ministry and mission work, but the other dreams of a corporate career that requires stability, these differing visions may lead to long-term conflicts. A strong relationship is not just about where a couple stands today, it is about where they are headed. If two people have opposing dreams or life goals, Their relationship may suffer from frustration and resentment. But when their visions align, they can support and encourage each other in fulfilling their God-given purpose. Looking at the example of Priscilla and Aquila in the Bible, we see a couple whose values and vision were perfectly aligned. They were both committed to their faith, worked together in their trade as tent makers, and supported the ministry of the Apostle Paul. Their shared mission allowed them to build a strong partnership that was both personally fulfilling and impactful for God's kingdom. When two people align in values and vision, their relationship is not only peaceful, but also powerful. They move forward together with clarity, knowing that their connection is not based on fleeting emotions, but on a strong, God-centered foundation. This is why God does not just pair people based on attraction. He aligns their hearts, minds, and destinies for a greater purpose. Many people believe that when God pairs them with the right partner, everything will be easy and effortless. They assume that a God-ordained relationship will have no challenges, no disagreements, and no difficulties. However, this is far from the truth. In fact, before God confirms a relationship, he often allows it to go through tests and trials. These challenges are not meant to destroy the relationship, but to reveal its strength, authenticity, and purpose. Tests serve an important role in relationships. They expose what is hidden beneath the surface. When everything is going well, it is easy to assume that a relationship is strong. But true character is revealed in times of difficulty. Trials bring out a person's real nature, their level of commitment, and their ability to handle pressure. If a relationship cannot survive small tests, it will not withstand the bigger challenges that marriage and life will bring. God allows these tests as a way to confirm whether a relationship is built on a solid foundation. If a couple can navigate difficulties with faith, patience, and wisdom, it is a sign that their relationship is rooted in God. However, if a relationship begins to fall apart under pressure, it is often a warning sign that something is not right. Tests reveal whether two people are truly meant to walk together or if they are forcing something that is not part of God's plan. One of the most significant tests in any relationship is the test of time. Many relationships start with excitement and passion, but over time, emotions can fade. A relationship that is only built on feelings will eventually lose its strength. But when two people are genuinely connected by God, their bond deepens over time rather than weakens. They remain committed even when the initial excitement fades because their relationship is based on faith, trust, and shared purpose. Another common test is the test of conflict. Every relationship will face disagreements, but the way a couple handles conflict reveals the true nature of their bond. Do they communicate with respect and patience, or do they resort to anger and manipulation? Do they seek solutions together, or do they blame each other? A God-ordained relationship does not avoid conflict, but it overcomes it with love, wisdom, and humility. If a relationship constantly falls into toxic arguments, it may be a sign that it is not meant to last. The test of external pressure is also a crucial confirmation in a relationship. Sometimes relationships face opposition from family, friends, or life circumstances. When faced with these pressures, do both partners stand firm in their commitment, or do they allow outside voices to dictate their relationship? God may allow external challenges to test whether two people truly belong together. If a relationship is easily broken by external influences, it may not be as strong as it seems. In the Bible, we see many examples of relationships being tested. One of the most powerful examples is the story of Joseph and Mary. When Mary became pregnant by the Holy Spirit, Joseph faced an incredible test. He had to decide whether to stay with her despite the risk of public shame. His response showed his faith, character, and love for Mary. Because they passed this test, they were able to fulfill God's purpose together. Similarly, Ruth and Boaz also faced a test before their union. Ruth had to remain faithful and patient, even in difficult circumstances. Boaz had to go through the proper process before marrying her. Their willingness to follow God's timing and process confirmed that their relationship was meant to be. For anyone seeking confirmation in a relationship, it is important to pay attention to how the relationship handles challenges. Instead of fearing trials, view them as opportunities for growth and revelation. If a relationship survives difficulties with faith, respect, and perseverance, it is a strong indication that it is built on God's foundation. However, if trials expose deep weaknesses, unresolved issues, or a lack of true commitment, it may be God's way of redirecting you towards something better. God's confirmations do not always come through supernatural signs. They often come through practical life experiences. He does not just tell us whether a relationship is right. He shows us through situations that reveal the truth. Instead of rushing to escape difficulties, embrace them as a way to test the strength of your relationship. If it is truly from God, no test will break it, only strengthen it. In life, one of the most important decisions you will ever make is choosing the right partner. This is not just a matter of emotions or attraction. It is a matter of divine alignment. God does not pair people randomly. He follows a process that ensures you receive the best He has prepared for you. First, divine timing is crucial. God is never in a hurry, and He does not want you to be either. Rushing into relationships outside of His plan can lead to unnecessary pain. When you wait on His perfect timing, you receive a partner who complements your journey rather than complicates it. Second, purpose must come before partnership. Before bringing the right person into your life, God ensures that you are first walking in your calling. A strong relationship is not just about companionship. It is about fulfilling God's plan together. When you focus on becoming the person God created you to be, the right partner will come as a blessing, not a distraction. Third, alignment of values and vision is essential. Love alone is not enough to sustain a relationship. Two people must be heading in the same direction with shared faith, principles, and goals. When values align, a relationship is peaceful, purposeful, and powerful. Finally, every God-ordained relationship will be tested. These tests do not come to destroy, but to confirm whether the relationship is built on a strong foundation. Through trials, true character is revealed, and God shows whether two people are truly meant to be together. In the end, trusting God with your love story is the best decision you can make. When He writes your relationship, it will be one filled with peace, purpose, and divine confirmation. Instead of chasing after love in your own strength, surrender to His process, knowing that He will pair you with the right person at the right time for the right purpose. Let patience, wisdom, and faith guide you, and in due season you will walk into the love story He has prepared just for you.